Welcome to today's edition of The Buzz. It's Monday, the 13th of May 2024, and we're set to discuss and analyze trending news topics from the Nigerian social media space. My name is Patience. It's a pleasure to be here once again. Of course, if you've been watching the news, you know that the Duke and Duchess of Sussex, Prince Harry and Meghan, have been in Nigeria since Friday on a 3-day visit to the country, and they actually ended their 3-day tour to Nigeria with a visit to Lagos State yesterday. All of that we'll be talking about on the program today. Plus, Prince Harry being in Nigeria makes it exactly 68 years that Queen Elizabeth II also visited Nigeria for almost the same purpose, and he was received at that time by Sir Tafawa Balewa at the time. All right, joining me at the table this afternoon is a pleasure to have Mr. Tochukwu Ezukama, who is joining us in full capacity as a writer, a businessman, and a public affairs analyst this afternoon. Good afternoon, Mr. Ezukama.
Good afternoon.
Welcome to the show.
It's always a pleasure, a joy, a thrill for me to appear on this program every morning.
Always a pleasure to have you, sir.
I say I'm very glad to be here, and I say good afternoon to our viewers.
And of course, I'm still expecting to join us, our Reolada India Ariyo. We hope he makes it to the show on time, but we have to get started. Meanwhile, let me welcome you, the viewer, to the program. Thank you for tuning in. Don't forget you can interface with us using the number that will be on the screen shortly. Use that number via SMS to send in your comments, your contributions, and every other thing. Plus, you can watch this show live on X, formerly Twitter, or you view us on Star Times, or just download the Galaxy Television app on your mobile devices and watch us on the go. Having said that, let's get into our program properly this afternoon. The Duke of Sussex, Prince Harry, and the Duchess of Sussex, Meghan, landed in Nigeria last week Friday on a 3-day visit. Prince Harry and his wife Meghan arrived in Nigeria on Friday to promote the Invictus Games, an initiative he founded to support the rehabilitation of wounded and sick service members and also veterans, including Nigerian soldiers engaged in a 14-year conflict against Islamic extremists. The Kaduna State Governor, Senator Uba Sani, on Friday last week received Prince Harry and his wife exactly 68 years after his grandmother, Queen Elizabeth II, visited the state on the 2nd of February 1959. The Queen was received by the late premier of the defunct northern region in the person of Sir Amadu Bello. Well, 2 days after the visit yesterday precisely, they arrived in Lagos to continue their 3-day visit, and I think that ended the visit as well, and they met with the Lagos State Governor Babajide Sanwo-Olu at the Lagos House in Marina, Lagos. Okay, so I'll be giving us timeline of the places they went to while they were here in Nigeria. But first, trust Nigerians and our hospitable spirit. Let's go check out how we received Prince Harry to Nigeria last week. Let's take a look. There's more trending all over the social media space, but of course, because of time, we can bring you, the entire fanfare around, the visit of the Duke and Duchess of Sussex. All right, Mr. Ezukama, we were talking behind the camera, that regardless of, in the face of what Nigerians are going through at the moment, all right, we draw from our inner being, to bring out that original and authentic Nigerian spirit that is hospitable, to attend to whatever needs to be attended to. And you were saying that is the true Nigerian spirit. But then let's have your comment, on the recent visit of Harry.
The true Nigerian spirit, I guess Fela summed it up with suffering and smiling. We can suffer, and while we are suffering, we still smile. Yeah. We still do our best to live a good life. Fela gave it a negative connotation. but it may not really be negative. It's just that we are resilient. We can cope with everything and remain who we are. That kind-heartedness of Nigerians. Although Nigerians are rude and harsh, and that kind of repels you when you meet us immediately. Yeah. But coming closer to us, you realize that we are large-hearted, we are kind-hearted, we are good people. The Duke of Sussex is trying to continue her mother's work, the kind of work the mother did. And he once said, I once read him say, I do not want to be killed by the same thing that killed my mother. He realized that the mother's problem with the royal family was that she couldn't cope with the suffocating starchiness of the royal family. He realized that the mother was disconcerted by the regimentation of the family that wouldn't allow you to be who you are. You must conform and conform to the extreme, or you're not one of them. Exactly. So that's why he didn't mind losing the privileges associated with all the royalty of royalty, and then try to do her own thing. So she's continuing where her mother left. Even if you look into British history, you see other kings or princes doing the same thing, like King Edward VIII, the man that abdicated before King John V, who was the father of Queen Elizabeth, came to power. Yeah. Queen Edward VIII couldn't stand the rigidity, you know, the formality, the stiff-neckedness. So he ran into a lady. The lady was a divorcee, couldn't marry the lady. And a certain writer said the lady made a living under very seductive circumstances. You know what that implies? Of course. So there were a lot of reasons he couldn't marry the lady. Exactly. But he went ahead and married the lady and said, I don't mind, I'll abdicate the throne, but I must marry the lady. And as the lady said in a certain interview, because I made him, I allowed him to be himself. He could get out of that grip, that regimentation. And be who he truly is. That's why he was ready to renounce the throne. So I guess our young man is doing something similar, knowing that the mother couldn't cope with it. The mother wanted to live a normal life, bring her children up, yes, it's normal children, which she couldn't do. The system made it impossible. But I think that's what he's now doing, going places, trying to help the poor, trying to be himself. Married a woman of Nigerian descent, 43% of the woman is black.
Yes,
which is
and Nigerian.
Black and Nigerian. Nigerians are giving her names already. Somebody called him Ifeoma, another person called him Irenebo, and one was in another Yoruba name. So trust Nigerians. That's what is continuing the work of his mother.
All right, Mr. Skama. Yes, you have been able to very quickly just sum up, you know, the entire thing that led to him actually, you know, leaving behind all the privileges he could have enjoyed as royalty and all of that, and follow his heart, follow his passion. But then the conversation on social media is trying to relate, you know, the thoughtfulness of this visit to Nigeria, especially since it is regarding our ex-servicemen, even those who are still serving, not only ex-service, our veterans and also our servicemen who have been wounded in the course of protecting, you know, the territorial integrity of our country and all of that. And people are juxtaposing that with how the Nigerian government, you know, is doing or not doing same for these same people. All right, so do we need an outsider such as a Prince Harry? Of course, I know he is a former army captain himself, and he served as a helicopter pilot in Afghanistan and all of that, which is why he's so concerned about issues that have to do with military men, because he's tasted it firsthand. We know that. But then people are talking about how the Nigerian government should be the one pioneering, championing the cause of veterans, war veterans, servicemen who are still in service, you know, as against what they are facing at the moment. You know, neglect in many parts, and nobody is really standing up for them. What are your thoughts on that?
Well, that's what I call the Nigerian factor. The Nigerian factor plays out in every aspect of our political, social, religious lives. Okay, the religion in Nigeria is miles apart from the religion in most other countries of the world. Our politics is in a class by itself. Our politics is in a class by itself. It's not an issue with one government, but it's an issue with Nigerians in general and our leaders, or our bad leaders in particular. Boko Haram had kidnapped the Chibok girls, 200 and something of them. And the next day, Goodluck Jonathan was at a party rally in Kaduna or Kano, romping to the throbbings of music. It took a lady from Shahid, I can't remember the lady's name, from Pakistan, the child activist, Shahid somebody, to come to Jonathan and remind the Jonathan administration of the need to hold meetings, to have meetings with the families of the kidnapped Chibok girls. So in our society, we see all that happen. We see every problem festering, getting worse, because of a number of reasons, which include tribalism is a factor, ethnicity is a factor, religion is a factor, then our wealth consciousness is a factor. Those days I had a restaurant and a bar at Ujodu Bega.
Okay.
So I went around the street telling people about my restaurant, advertising my restaurant, just walking around, hairdressing salons, Okada riders. And one thing struck me: you talk to a Nigerian or talk to those, they look at you not by stealth, but conspicuously from head to toe. And I was wondering, I asked the lady that was cooking for me, why do they look at you from head to toe conspicuously before they reply to you, before they answer you? He said, because if they look at you from head to toe and they think you're not worth anything, then whatever you have to say will be worth nothing
to them.
Yeah, but if they look at you and it's like they can give you a chance, or you are worth something, you look like a responsible, then it will make sense to them. So because the wounded soldiers have no powerful, they are not powerful, they are not generals, they are the lower rank of the army. So nobody cares and nobody wants to care. So until people mobilize to speak on their behalf, to fight on their behalf, it will remain that way. And then the issue of Boko Haram and banditry got so warped, so twisted upside down by a number of considerations, mostly ethnicity and religion. So there are a number of reasons that have made our government almost totally indifferent to the plight of our soldiers who are putting their lives on the line to protect us, and who have been wounded, who are sometimes helpless and hopeless, and our governments don't care. So if we will take a foreigner to come here and remind us to take care of our own, to take care of our wounded soldiers, it will all be wonderful. It will all be appreciated.
All right, thank you, Mr. Zukama. All right, we're still discussing the issue of Prince Harry's visit to Nigeria and what impact or import that actually has on us as a people and the society. All right, as we all know, while he was here, one of his major focus was on servicemen, especially those ones who are in the hospital, who have been wounded, you know, in the line of duty. He paid a visit to them, and he played the Invictus game with them, and of course just tried to encourage them and make them realize that they are still a very important part of a society. While all of that was going on, a particular video trended online on Friday, where the soldiers lamented the condition of the facility and the way they were being treated. Now, the commentator in that video claimed that there were over 100 of them in the detention facility, and over 40 of them had been awaiting confirmation. Awaiting confirmation for 4 years. Most of them have been there 4 years in detention. All right, according to them, they seize their food, they don't allow them to buy food, And they also lamented that even when they are giving the food is not enough. Now, the Nigerian army has promised to investigate the conditions at the detention facilities after this video emerged online. And we're talking about the 8th Division Garrison Detention Facility located in Sokoto State. Let's take a quick minute. Let's go and take a look at this video and listen to the soldiers. We'll be right back. That video emerged online on Friday, detailing the conditions of some Nigerian soldiers who are at a detention facility, and it's been identified as the 8th Division Garrison Detention Facility in Sokoto State. Since Friday, this video has been trending, and people have taken this video as a talking point and also merging it, you know, with the visit of the Duke of Sussex and the implication of all of this to the psyche of an average serviceman in Nigeria. Well, early this morning, the Director, Army Public Relations, Major General Onyema Nwachukwu, said in a statement that the Army Chief finds the incident unfortunate and he has ordered an investigation to determine how widespread the problems are. Now, part of the statement says, and I read, undoubtedly, the Sokoto Barracks detention facility incident is quite unfortunate and an embarrassment to the sound administration efforts of the Chief of Army Staff, to say the least. In line with his leadership style, the Chief of Army Staff has instituted an appropriate investigation into the incident to determine whether it is an isolated or widespread situation in similar detention facilities. The Army also says they will not tolerate the way the soldiers expressed their grievances, and those involved could face disciplinary action. Now, let me just end it here. It's quite a long statement. But what the Army Public Relations Officer is trying to say there is, in as much as an investigation has been launched into, you know, this video to make sure, you know, it's real and to ensure that it's not going on in other detention facilities. But whoever recorded this video, posted it, made it go viral, can actually face disciplinary action, because according to him, there is a proper way and manner the Army addresses issues, and this flouts that order. Mr. Izukama, please.
Well, I believe in protests. I believe in people verbalizing their discontent and letting the powers that be know that we are unhappy. We don't like the way things are going. And in a democracy, the military, mind you, is not a democracy. But outside the military, Nigeria is a democracy. So in a democracy like ours, it should be the order of the day. And I'm surprised, disturbed, that as hard as things are in this country, with all the deprivation, the hardship, the insensitivity of the powers that be, that we are not protesting even more. But then when it comes to the military, I am very careful. I normally try to avoid things that are about the military, because they have a different mindset. In a civilian setting, you are innocent until proven guilty. But in the military, you are guilty until you can prove your innocence. So it's completely different set of rules, yeah, modus operandi. But then the question is, what could have been their offense? I mean, some people have been dismissed and you're still detaining them. If you dismiss a man, you let him go. Some have been in there for 3 to 4 years without their salaries being paid. You don't let their wives visit them, you don't give them food, and you don't allow them to buy food. So these are egregious acts of inhumanity. They are unjustifiable, and I think even by military, by the rigors of military standards, I think they are just a little too much. And the question readily arises, what could have been their offense? Because we have members of Boko Haram who kill, who shoot, who loot, who rape. And once they say they have repented. I don't think that's the right word, but let me use the word repent here. They are reformed, paid 160,000 naira every month as salary or stipend, whatever you choose to call it. So what could have been the offense of these soldiers that is necessitating this kind of very harsh, inhumane treatment? Nobody knows. But as the man is, as the spokesman is saying, whoever did this will be punished, and that's in line with military procedures. There's not a civilian setup where you voice your anger or displeasure at will. They have their procedures, but let the military handle themselves. They know themselves and they understand their modus operandi. Yes.
Okay. All right. We just had to tie that video with the visit of the Duke and Duchess of Sussex because he's in Nigeria because of the military. But I can bet on it that this video will not be brought to the attention of Prince Harry. I know that, because that will not do good for the image of Nigeria and the image of the Nigerian military. But like the Chief of Army Staff has promised, we hope that investigation will be carried out expeditiously on this matter, and also to make sure that other detention facilities, this kind of inhumane treatment is not being replicated, and these men are allowed to either face disciplinary action for whatever crime they might have committed for being detained, or for those who are found not guilty, please let them go home. Having said that, there is a report on the website of Prince Harry that actually talked about his visit to Nigeria, and the website mentioned that the Duke toured the hospital facilities alongside the Chief Medical Director, Colonel N.S. Onuchukwu. Also, we hear that this tour is designed to help wounded servicemen and women recover after injury. The hospital includes a leading physiotherapy gym and a high-tech prosthetics lab, which offers state-of-the-art replacements to those who have lost limbs. A donation offered by Germany that has been transformational for on-site prosthetic fittings was also mentioned. Also, we hear that Prince Harry met up with around 50 courageous soldiers across 2 wards, hearing about their stories of service and sacrifice and wishing them all a speedy recovery. 2 of the men who had seen at least this year's Invictus Games, and their smiles were a reminder of what they are seeing was possible post-injury. Now, the report also added that Prince Harry was especially pleased to be able to congratulate Princess Owowo in person since her graduation from the Royal Military Academy in Sandhurst. You remember that one? The first Nigerian female. Yes, okay. All right, so once again, the Duke and the Duchess of Sussex arrived Nigeria on Friday. They actually arrived at the Federal Capital Territory, Abuja, where they visited a school to open an event on mental health for students there. Also, the Duke of Sussex, Prince Harry, visited Kaduna State on Friday and met with wounded and injured Nigerian soldiers at the 44 Nigerian Army Reference Hospital. And then they ended their tour in Lagos, where they were received by Lagos State officials and also personally by the Lagos State Governor, Babajide Sanwo-Olu. Of course, Meghan already has a Nigerian name, Ifoma. Of course, 3% of her heritage is African, and not just African, it is Nigerian. Okay, so she's one of us, and she adorned one of the ashoke that was presented to both her and her husband by the Minister of the Diaspora Commission, Honorable Abike Dabiri Erewa. All right, let's take another quick minute. Let's go see how the Lagos State Governor himself received Prince Harry yesterday. We'll be back. I don't know why that video is freezing, but you get the idea. The Lagos State Governor so proudly introduced Lagos to Prince Harry, you know, told him about all the colorful and wonderful things that makes us tick as Lagosians. And of course, he was treated to a lot of fanfare and every other thing that can come with it. Makes me really indeed proud to be a Nigerian at this moment, but it is what it is. What a very memorable visit that was. Like I mentioned, exactly 68 years ago in 1959 precisely, his grandmother, Queen Elizabeth II, also visited Nigeria in February of that year. And also we've had a Princess Diana as well, the mother of the prince. All right, she was also into a lot of charitable events. So I mean, like they say, an apple doesn't fall too far from the tree. So I'm sure that's where he got all of this from.